Hey, it's Calvin here. So with We Matter, one of the things we always want to talk about is that it's okay and it's totally normal to have feelings like being sad or angry or hurt. But the question then is if you have those feelings, what do you do with them? How do you make sure that you can deal with them in a positive way? And that can be really hard. A couple years ago, I lost a friend. So I had a friend that him and I were best friends. We spent so much time together. We did so many things. But then he decided that he didn't want to be friends anymore. And he cut me out of his life completely. Like right now, if I was to call or like to send a text or like a message or whatever, he wouldn't respond. He wouldn't respond whatsoever. And maybe some of you know what this feels like. And I know when I was going through this, it was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to go through. It hurt so bad. And I'm still, even now, dealing with that. And really, even if you haven't gone through this, at some point, the people that are around us will let us down. Or maybe we'll lose family members, like, an auntie or an uncle or a parent or a grandparent will pass away. Whether you know what that feels like or not, it's something that is going to happen. And that really sucks. It really sucks. And it makes us feel sad and angry and confused. And it can be hard to figure out what to do in those situations. That can be one of the hardest things to do. Now, there's this really great We Matter video that maybe you've seen already from Jack Jr. from Attawapiskat. I'm going to show this video to you again just so you can watch it, because I think the things that he talks about are so important that can help out when we're feeling things like this. So here's the video from Jack Jr. Maybe you've seen it already, but it's really great. And I think we'll check it out again. So here it is.
Wache. Hello, my name is Jack Linklater Jr. I live in Attawapiskat, Ontario. I am Cree and proud to be. I live along the James Bay shorelines, the lowlands, and the Muskegowuk territory. My message to you, if you're having a hard time, look to the trees as it shows you to stand tall and proud. Look to the rock as it shows you the strength you need. Look to the river as it shows you to keep moving forward in life as it flows and to never give up. To the flowers as it shows you the love you need, the colors. The grass, as it teaches you forgiveness, as it always grows and grows no matter if you keep stepping on it. It's there to show you to forgive. We matter. Every little thing matters. The trees, the rocks, flowers. You matter. Stay strong.
I love that video, and I love it for so many reasons. And I think, if you think about what happens in life and how if the people around us might let us down, or the things that happen, or we get rejected for a job or for school or something, we're always on a roller coaster. Things are going to be up and down no matter what. However, what Jack is kind of teaching us, you can look to nature, You can find meaning and strength in things like the rock or grass. You can think about grass and how it keeps growing, even if you keep stepping on it. And that's a cool way to think about nature. That's a cool way to think about support. Because if we have people in our lives that let us down, the grass is something we can think about, or the rock is something we can think about, or the river. Because when we think about those things, that never goes away. That lesson we can learn from a river teaching us to move forward. We have that forever, no matter if we lose a friend or we lose a family member. The strength that comes from nature is already there. And Jack has kind of taught us that. And in fact, I realized once he talked about that I do that already. I kind of already do that. I don't know if you've noticed, but I have these necklaces that I wear around my neck. And one of them is an eagle, right here. And one of them is a moose. They're pretty cool. I never take these off, or rarely ever. And I wear them because these represent the person who I want to be. This is who Kelvin wants to be. And I want to be a filmmaker. I want to make the movies that you go see in theaters, or that you watch on iTunes or whatever. And so when I think about that and how, I want to make one of the next Avengers movies and things like that, which I'm going to do, is that to do those sorts of things, you have to have a really, really big imagination. That's important to me, to have an imagination. And so when I think of the eagle, I think of an eagle soaring through the air and being way high up in the clouds. And that's kind of what I want my imagination to do. I want to be able to let my mind go and be free and think of really cool ideas. And so I actually wear the necklace because it reminds me of that. That's what I want to be. But I think also if you're just living in the clouds all the time, that's not very good either. So I also wear the moose necklace. And I don't know who's seen a moose, but if you see a moose in the forest, they're so strong. They just push through the forest and the bush no matter what, and you can't stop them. And when I think of a bull moose in the forest trudging along, I'm like, man, I want that strength. And when I'm feeling weak, which happens, I'll actually think about the moose. And I think about it walking through the forest. And when I think about that, it gives me a bit of strength to keep going on. And when I went through this situation where my friend stopped being my friend, and I felt so weak, and it was one of the hardest things that I've gone through, I would actually think of the moose. It would give me strength. And all of us can have something like that. Maybe for you, it might be a different animal. Maybe something like the wolf can give you strength, or the bear, because when you think of it, it's fierce and it's powerful. Or maybe for someone else, you can think of the mouse, and the mouse can give you strength because the mouse is small and it's quick, and that's something that you can get strength from too. Or maybe when you think of the sun, it reminds you that the sun is there to guide us, or the moon that can guide us even when the sun isn't there. And all of these things have strength, that they can be symbols of hope that actually work. And so think about it. What is it for you? It doesn't even have to be nature. It could be a hockey stick that gives you strength. Because when you think about it, you're on the ice and it keeps you up. Or maybe it's the paintbrush or the pencil, because when you think of it, you think about how you can create these beautiful things from nothing. And these have meaning. And all of us can have something different. And so there's one last thing that I want to leave you with, which is that the way that Jack talks about looking to the rock, or looking to the flowers, or the river, that this is a really indigenous way of thinking about things, that it's a really First Nations or Inuit or Métis way of thinking about things. And that's really cool, because it can be really easy to see the negative stuff that's around us, to see the negative in our communities. I know when I was growing up that I would see things like, the drinking, or people drinking, or like the anger and the negative stuff. And it's so easy to see that stuff and think like, oh, okay, I guess that's what I am. That's what I'll become. It's so easy to think about that and let that sink into you. But we do have the choice. You have the choice that we can choose to see ourselves differently. And I choose to see myself the way that Jack talks about. I choose to find strength in the world around me, and I choose to look at the eagle and the moose and use that as my identity, that I don't want to see myself as those negative things, that I have these other things that can be meaningful to me, for me as a First Nations person. And we can all have those things to hold on to, especially when life is up and down and up and down. We can all choose to reflect ourselves, to see ourselves in the positive way. So what is it for you? You know, what kind of symbols of hope can you hold on to? What are the things that you find strength in that can keep you moving even when things are really tough? This is what works for me, and it really works. So how do you want to see yourself? How do you want to see yourself in the world?